All right, although the Rough Riders aren't in the 107th Grey Cup in Calgary, it's still bound to be an exciting matchup between the Bombers and Ticats. To tee up the big game coming up on Sunday, we bring in TSN panelist, well-known CFL alum, Henry Burris. Welcome.
Hey, Brit, thanks for having me. How are you?
I am good, thank you. You have to tell me, what's the atmosphere been like in Calgary this week?
Oh, my goodness. And I think you mentioned it that, despite Saskatchewan not being in the Grey Cup, trust me, there's lots of green out here. But you can also, think about the other two organizations that have been through that long drought. Of course, this is being called the Drought Bowl. But you got to look at 29 years for Winnipeg, 20 years for Hamilton. And trust me, whenever you see their colors represented by their fan base, it's a hungry group of fans that are looking forward to this weekend. But the party is alive and well. Anytime you combine both the city that hosts the Calgary Stampede and also the Grey Cup with some football flair, you're in for one heck of a party, and it's been just that to go into this weekend, getting ready for the big game Sunday.
Well, you can always count on Rider fans. We're everywhere. I love it.
Exactly.
You just mentioned the longest drought, two teams going head-to-head. That just must mean that much more to get the prize, to get the Grey Cup.
Oh, you know it. And I know a lot of people talked about they would have loved to seen Edmonton, cross over, make it, and also have Saskatchewan in. But when you look at the two teams that were destined for success this year, I mean, a lot of the analysts did pick both Winnipeg and Hamilton to be there in the end because, these two teams have been well represented and definitely cornerstone franchises in this league for such a long time. And it's time for their fans to be rewarded with the championship, and especially with the Grey Cup. And now they're both here. And like I said, this is going to be a physical game. It's going to be an all-out war between these two teams. And there are two teams who don't like each other because they feel like they're the biggest bully on the block. And so now they get a chance to truly prove that. Hamilton's up 2-0 right now. But again, like I tell everybody, you can win all you can in the regular season, but if you don't seal the deal in the end by winning the Grey Cup, it's all for none.
All right, I have to talk about the biggest story that I think comes out of this. Both teams are coming into this Grey Cup without their original starting quarterbacks, not the people they started the season with. But first, let's talk about the great Dane Evans. He has a 10-2 overall record as a starter this season.
Oh, he's been quite the surprise because if there's anybody that could have predicted this type of success, and I'm pretty sure his parents, his old high school coach said, oh, yeah, we saw this coming a long time ago. But this kid, he took command right away, stepping in as a young player, talking to all-pro veterans like Brandon Banks and all the different great players that they have on that offense. He took command of this offense. And even with the pressure of knowing Hamilton was destined for a Grey Cup championship or at least a Grey Cup appearance, that's a lot of pressure on a young guy. But you can see he's done an admirable job by taking things over and being cool, calm, and collected under all this pressure. But then looking at Zach Claros on the other side, a guy who we all wrote off. We were all looking out for his health, making sure that he had the right to live a life, free of all the different elements, especially from the last concussion that he had. But he had that never say die attitude. And after the doctors and his family gave him the right to step back on this field, it seems like he's a man on a mission. And even when the Winnipeg Blue Bombers were down and out, we counted them out. Nobody gave them a chance if they didn't have a home playoff game. But just like in Zach's case, this was a match made in heaven. And look how they both have motivated each other. And now here they are like with destiny as their fate, playing in this year's Grey Cup. So something's got to give.
I know, and I know Rider fans are a little sour every time you say Claros because we're a little upset that he's not with the Riders right now at Grey Cup. But sadly, we're out of time, but you have a great time at Grey Cup. I know it's going to be a great game. You can catch all the action, too, on TSN. Kickoff is 5 p.m. Saskatchewan time. Thank you so much for your time, Henry Burris.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. Enjoy the game.